This past weekend, I paid only $1.51 for a gallon of gas, a local example of how the global coronavirus pandemic has slowed the world's economies so that fuels are in much lower demand. And one consequence of the slowdown is an improvement in air quality. The first signs were in China. Here's concentrations of the pollutant nitrogen dioxide. It's produced mainly by vehicles and industrial facilities. On the left is the first 20 days of January, before their quarantine. Higher values are orange and maroon. The right is 2 weeks in mid-February during their quarantine. Nearly all the higher values gone. Now, weather can change these concentrations, but this drop-off was so dramatic, widespread, and quick that it can't be weather alone. Here's a close-up of the area around Wuhan, where the pandemic began, comparing 3 periods in early 2019 on top with the same periods in 2020 on the bottom. Part of the improvement is related to new environmental regulations that China has enforced over the past few years, but that can't explain it all. The improvement in air quality is similar in Europe. Here's nitrogen dioxide concentrations from March and April 2019 over the continent. Again, higher values in orange and maroon. Compare that with mid-March to mid-April this year. Concentrations down by about 50% around major urban areas. As much as 15% of the decrease could be weather-related, but even if that's the case, it's still a substantial pandemic-related improvement. Closer to home, here's a side-by-side comparison of atmospheric nitrogen dioxide over the southeast U.S. On the left, the average from mid-March to mid-April from 2015 to 2019. Atlanta and Charlotte really stand out. And on the right, the same period in 2020. Another dramatic difference. Farther north, here's nitrogen dioxide each March, starting in 2015 in the I-95 corridor from D.C. northeast to Boston. The year-to-year variations are primarily weather-related until this year. Watch what happens in 2020. Considerably cleaner air. Finally, let's look at air quality in 2 urban counties in Pennsylvania, Allegheny and Philadelphia, focusing on PM 2.5. Very tiny particulate matter, particles that can get into your lungs and cause health problems. Here I've plotted the number of days when levels of this pollutant were not in the good category, from March 16th to April 27th of every year since 2000. I started on March 16th because that's about when the shutdown began this year. Notice the number of days when air quality was not in the good category has generally come down over the years, especially in the last decade. But look at 2020. In both counties, it's the least in 20 years. In Philadelphia County, it's literally 0, meaning that every day since March 16th has been in the good category for this pollutant this year. That's not a coincidence. Next week, I'll touch on how the pandemic is affecting other aspects of meteorology. For now, stay tuned. Our extended forecast is next.